So hopefully you're catching the theme here. Data distribution ensures that all nodes and node slices can pitch in and spread the work. Massively parallel processing. That's the goal. That's our number one priority. Choosing a specific distribution style strives to minimize the amount of data redistribution that may occur as a side effect of the way it was distributed. But when picking a style, we always do so with number one priority in mind. We don't want to negatively impact priority one. Your cluster is going to be the fastest when queries are both highly parallel and don't require a lot of data movement overhead related to redistribution. If you have to pick one or the other, typically go with parallel execution. All right, so we covered even distribution, which ensures uniformity by just simply using a round-robin approach, but may create some overhead related to data movement during redistribution. So priority 1 was met. Priority 2 may be a little bit iffy, especially when it comes to joins. Now, key distribution lets you take control, so you can attempt a more logical initial distribution of data based on keys. You are now in charge of ensuring a uniform distribution. Get it wrong, and you could make things worse for both parallel processing and data redistribution. Get it right, however, the benefiting queries have the potential to really fly. So our final style choice is all distribution. Simply put, under all distribution, every node gets a full copy of all rows in the table. The question is, at what storage cost? So all distribution is that flavor of ice cream that rarely gets picked, kind of like maybe pistachio. But in the occasional scenario, still makes a great choice. I happen to really like pistachio. I just would typically pick chocolate first. So here's my checklist for selecting all distribution for a given table. Number 1, not a candidate for key distribution. Number 2, the table is joined to heavily. Number 3, it changes infrequently. And number 4, the total row count is within reason. Going through these one by one, if a table has a column that is a legitimate candidate for key distribution, that's preferable. Go with that. Number 2, all distribution is meant for joins. It ensures that records needed by other tables are always locally available. If the table isn't being joined, and joined often, then it's automatically probably not a good choice for all distribution. Now, number 3 you might not think about, but having a copy of the entire table means any new rows, updates, deletes, really changes of any kind instantly tie up all nodes with that action. And if this happens frequently, the impact on the performance of everything else that cluster might need to work on is going to inevitably suffer. So looking at our database schema, there's really only one table that I'd consider for all distribution. We have a table that includes a bunch of date facts. It's called DimDate. This table gives the initial date format, and then in the same row, date types, numbers, week names, month names, quarter names, all for the given date. It does this to give queries that are based on date, on any date, a way to quickly translate and enhance the query for other groupings. For example, if we have a query that groups sales by quarter, this table, when joined, makes that very easy. We could also do something like see how much profit in sales we make from one July to the next over a number of years. Now, glancing at this table, you might think that it would make a good candidate as a dist key, especially if it's going to commonly join with fact sales that we've already decided makes a great candidate for dist key on order date. The two dates would hash the same, so they'd end up on the same slice, so why not? Well, the reason I would still choose all in this scenario is because there are a lot of other dates that this table will join to. Ship date, delivery date, billing date, as well as a couple other tables in our database that have regular joins on this table by date. Each table is only going to get one dist style. And if you choose a dist key that is made up of order date, that precludes bill date or ship date or any of those other dates in that same table being used when joining to this dimension table, DimDate. Now, with that said, profiling your specific query load is the key. I'll admit, I'm stretching a bit here to show a good example of what a candidate for all distribution might look like. You could have a database nearly identical to the makeup of this one and find, based on your query load, that all distribution maybe isn't a good choice. And that's really the underlying message of even distribution, key distribution, and all distribution. There is no hard and fast rule that is going to apply to every database. Except for maybe, if you can't find a good use case for all or a good use case for key, use even distribution. Like I said, it's the one you'll use most often and for the worst reason. All right, so we've talked a lot about data redistribution. Let's talk about some of the pipes that connects all these node slices together, and also some of the pipes that this data might have to traverse as it moves back and forth between other items within your virtual private clouds, such as your S3 storage or a DynamoDB database. And then we'll wrap up this module.